Good evening, everyone. It's 20 to 11 in the evening, Friday night. The weekend begins here. We are victorious. Premier League Wolverhampton Wanderers have knocked out Northern Premier League. Chorley from the non-league by a 0-0, and it wasn't pretty, but we have got through. As always on Extra Time, the post-match phone-in show, I'm joined by my host Amy. Hi Amy, how are you?
Hi Dave, I'm all right, thanks. I'm feeling a lot better after a win because it feels like it's been a while, even though it's 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks since the Palace game, wasn't it, in the cup?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's come around very, very quickly, hasn't it? Of course.
So I just about dried my tears after Saturday for this evening. So, but yeah, we've won a game. Hurrah!
What did you make of the performance, and how would you rate that performance?
Performance-wise, it wasn't very good at all. Especially in the second half. So second half syndrome strikes again. But they did have the possession of the ball, which helped them. And so I'd probably say, let's go 5 out of 10 for the performance. But that being said, that was exactly the type of game I thought it was going to be. The last live football game that I went to was actually a non-league game. Stourbridge, who are, I think, 2 divisions below the standard that Chorley are at, and the way that football is at that level is just completely different to Premier League football. So the game was exactly how I thought it was going to go. I'd hoped it would have been a gold rush after the 11th minute wonder strike, but unfortunately it wasn't. But we won, clean sheet, through to the next round. So that's positive.
Absolutely. I mean, that is the part. Lee here on that is giving it a rating of 3.5. On my reaction, which I do straight after the game, my short reaction, I've given it a 4.5. And there were people giving it 2s and 3s. But like you say, we've got through. Vitina, that was a great strike. That was the one moment of quality in the whole game from Wolves. I personally thought the keeper should have done better. I think it caught him a little bit by surprise, and it's sort of sweet off, did it? Thomas has got a question for you here before we get to our first caller. Amy, did you get the champagne out? Lol.
No, I did not. I'd like to think that the champagne is being saved for a bigger occasion. Who knows? Might be the FA Cup final.
FA Cup final. Well, we're going to be joined by Minnie, Amy, and her dad, Ria, and they're going to come on first of all. Let me just change the background so it works when I bring them, introducing the career. So here you are. It's Ria and Dad making your second appearance and your first up today. Yeah. So first off, before we talk to Dad, Ria, give us your thoughts and rating.
Well, I thought today was not as good as we could have done, and overall, I think it was a 5 out of 10 performance. Half.
Yeah. And Dad, what do you think?
I think we was poor. I think I expected, like once you got the first goal, I expected us to kick on, dominate the game, maybe win 3 or 4-0, but the way we played, especially the strikers, I think Catrone and Silva were very disappointing. They offered very little. They couldn't make the ball stick. We'd feed it into him, and time again, especially Silva, was losing the ball. We couldn't get anything going, but by the time we got it up to him, we lost it again. And then they just knock it long. He was back defended on the edge of our area, heading things out. Yeah, then maybe we'd get it again, string a couple of passes together, get it into Silva or Catrone, lose possession. rinse and repeat, long ball, edit out from the edge of the box. If they ain't going to make nothing stick, we ain't going to get up the pitch. So we brought Traore on, brought Neto on to try and run us up the pitch because we couldn't pass our way up.
Yeah.
And that they had some impact, and we did improve a little bit, but not a substantial change. It was just a general poor performance all around.
Gary Poutney is probably agreeing a lot with you. And I said a little bit on my reaction. At times it felt like we were playing with 9 men because the front two seemed a bit non-existent.
Yeah.
Gary Poutney said the forwards don't seem to link with the midfield at the moment. Too much passing for the sake of it.
Yeah, just passing in defence, midfield. We need to get it up, create chances and score.
Yeah, we kept the ball. In the first half, I think we had something like 82% of possession.
Yeah.
But
we did.
That was largely Bolly, Cody, Kilman, Dendonka, Matinho, Hoover, Aitnuri, Dendonka, Cody, Bolly. Then once we got into the final third, it fizzled out.
Yeah, then
we'd get it, have the ball again. We'd keep the ball, maybe string 10 passes together, get it to the final third, fizzle out, and then repeat. And the only moment of quality, like you say, Dave, was Vittina's shot, which was a cracking strike. And
I think it caught us all by surprise, didn't it? That shot.
Well, not me, because I'll tell you why.
Said.
When he put it up and he turned, I said, he's going to shoot, and he hit it, and it flew in. So I saw it coming down.
Well, Ben Whitehouse, Amy, and Ria, he's quite an interesting little statement. We finally played 2 strikers, but we didn't have any wingers to put the crosses in. Whereas before we've had the wingers and no strikers in there.
I do think Aitnuri did lose the ball in quite a few circumstances where I think he should have played it on a bit more and trusted in himself a bit better. So I do think that you say about I found Catrone. Oh my god, my cat's just trying to get up behind me.
Your cat is beautiful, though, isn't it?
Sorry,
she's the most beautiful cat
against my chair. Sorry, but I do think that Catrone for me was very, very disappointing tonight. I think you mention about Silva, but I do think Silva did actually get the ball, whereas I don't think Catrone really touched the ball in the first half at all. He had that one shot which he should have done better with at the end of the first half. But I do think that Aitnuri for me, he should have been doing more. For me tonight, he really should have been doing more. So he was a bit of a disappointment.
If the wing backs should be acting as your wingers, if you're playing with a 5-3-2. That's Hoover and Aitnuri should be the ones providing the crosses. They've got the guys behind them in a back 3 to give them the freedom to get forward to put the crosses in.
Like Cody was doing his trademark passes, but they weren't. You think if Doherty had been in that position like last year, they would have been on the end of it. But tonight, his passes were just lost, which was because Cody looked so much more comfortable, and I think Bolly, Kilman, and Cody they looked so much more comfortable tonight back into their traditional formation that we're so used to. But going up front, there was the lack of confidence on the ball up front, which is where I think it was let down. But I do think when Neto came on and that they looked a lot more comfortable, and I think that shows they've had more game time, etc. So I think, we can all agree the performance, especially against Chorley, wasn't great. So there's definitely improvement.
Stuart Allsop is basically backing up what you've just said on that. Yeah, the wing backs, he says, was shocking tonight. What do you just obviously before we come on to your man of the match and we get on to the next caller, guys, Ria and Dad, what did you make about the Chorley pitch? You and Eugene saying it was poor, and who was your man of the match?
My man of the match was Bolly. Won all of his aerial duels. Very, very good performance tonight.
Yeah, and we relied on him heavily, didn't we, Bolly? I think if Bolly weren't there tonight, if he was injured like he was a couple of weeks ago, we'd have struggled even more. With so many balls being put into the box, Bolly's aerial presence is a massive plus for us, in not just against Chorley. In a lot of games, we rely on Bolly to win the ball in the air. Kilman and Cody were steady as well. They did their fair share of the dirty work, getting the ball clear and winning the tackles. But Bolly, is imperious in the air. When he's on form, he's one of the best centre-halves in the Premier League, and I think he's underrated.
Yeah, and with the pitch, it was all bumpy, and the ball was coming up, and very hard to play on.
Yeah, it's difficult to play good football on that surface, and we can all agree it's difficult to get the ball down and play. But still, when we got the ball into that final third, there was a lack of creativity, a lack of movement, a lack of imagination, a lack of runs. You know, people just offering a run for somebody to slide them in. So I don't think we can use the pitch as an excuse for our lack of good play in forward areas.
Yeah.
Well, I think you've summed that up right, because you've got Thomas Howard here that's saying you're right, and there's a few people that agreed with that. Chaotic Ranger says can't use the pitch state for an excuse for that performance. And Ann Walker is basically saying hi to Dad and R. I think you've done another great job of coming on and talking about the game, and then we go on to Chelsea on Wednesday. That's going to be interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, you got to stick with the 5 at the back for Chelsea. Got to stick with
Definitely.
the 5.
Do you know what? I think the fact that he's gone 3 at the back tonight against Chorley, because the manager of Chorley was saying after the game they expected Wolves to start with 4. I think that tells you that we're going back to 3 at the back, and I think you've got to go back to basics. I don't particularly think there's anything bad with us trying to play 4 at the back. But he's tried to do that. We've had all these injuries, and he's been trying to fit, round pegs into square holes. You need to get back to getting some point. We need to win 4 games out of the next 19 and a few draws, and we're safe. So we can do that, can't we?
Yeah. We can do that. That's fine.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. And you're on first, so you're on. Like bang on it, so you're on first tonight, and all the best to you. And we might see you again at Chelsea.
Yeah.
At Chelsea, we go to Stamford Bridge.
Minnie, Amy, and Dad. Take care. Oh, they're lovely. They are
lovely.
Right. So next up, making his debut, a big supporter of the channel. And he buys a lot of samosas.
Oh,
hello.
We've got Merv Bennett.
Let me just get somebody down me.
Have you got some?
He's got his vino. Joe Martino's got his vino.
Tell you what, because you know my dad always loves Ryan Bennett. Well, there's 3 of them in your house, isn't there?
We're his adopted Bennett now.
That's
the substitute Bennett.
And you're making your debut tonight. So, Amy, go ahead and you can do this one with Merv and have a little chat.
So Merv, what were your thoughts on this evening? How did you feel? First half, second half, full time?
My thoughts were typical Wolves. We just make hard work out of everything.
Yeah.
You know, just giving the ball, keep the ball. Don't give it away. Simple things, but we just don't seem to be able to do it. Why? The quality of the players are there.
Who did you find most frustrating in that circumstance tonight, or who was it that really you couldn't get your head around?
Well, the front 2, obviously. You know, you got one who's out of his depth and another lad who don't want to be there. So that's a non-starter for before we begin, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, we just everything just broke down like as we got further up the pitch. So passing sideways again, and
So what would you like to see them do differently? How would you like to approach it in a different way?
Just get back to basics. Hopefully we're going to be 5 at the back again, and just don't give the ball away.
And
how hard can that be?
Would he be
trying Big Chops, which is a fantastic name for a channel? He says, because this had made me laugh, what do we do at half-time break? Listen to the Smiths and do knitting, and we come out so slow.
I mean, I think he's got a point, to be honest, because I don't know about you, Merv, but it felt a bit like second half syndrome again is what we had second half syndrome last season, which is very positive, but this season we seem to be on the flip side with the second half. So I don't really. Again, maybe they are playing knitting and stuff at half time. I don't know, but
you know, it's like when we played Stoke in the Coca-Cola Cup, I call it, because I'm that old. But they just didn't want to play, did they? They turned up and didn't really give it their all, and it just feels the same. when Wolves played Ensford from Ensford Town, when we had a pre-season a couple of years ago, and they played the under-21s, and they thumped them 6-1. The under-21s did. So
Yeah.
half of me thinks, well, some players who are hungry for it. They just don't seem to want to know, do they?
I do think there were glimpses, and I do think that they I'm not saying that the performance was great, because I don't think it was at all, but I do think that they came out and there was glimpses of them being more compact and more united compared to what we've seen recently. And I do think that goes back to the back to basics at the back. But again, I think it's just the final third just wasn't working tonight. And I think that was the fundamental, because they've kept a clean sheet, which has been a long time coming, to be honest. And
thanks to John Ruddy.
To me, John Ruddy was my man of the match tonight.
I gave Ruddy my man of the match as well, because
he made some cracking saves.
That save that he made,
the header.
Yeah, I mean the first header coming across, he was in the right place, he caught it, but that second header, he was going backwards and tipped it over the bar. His reactions were there, which was good to see for John, because when we played in the League Cup, he made that mistake, and he looked solid tonight. So I gave him my man of the match as well, Amy, interestingly enough.
But I do think, though, it's frustrating as it is. I'd rather be sat here having won and having a few grumbles about the performance than them having outplayed Chorley to the death, and then just getting a sneaky last-minute header.
I couldn't imagine if we'd have lost tonight.
And I think, there was, going into that game, obviously everything that happened last weekend with the Albion game and all the negativity that was going round, it was tough for them to come out tonight. And they're professional footballers or whatever, but they came out, and what they said on BT Sport is it wasn't a pleasant performance to watch, especially as Wolves fans, but it was a very professional performance in terms of how they handled the game and how they handled the occasion, because that for Chorley was their final. So they had nothing to lose, is my take on it as well.
They still beat us 3-1 on aggregate though, Dave, didn't they?
I did say, didn't I? I did that little tweet, and I did my Instagram where I said I hope we can win 4-0, because we can say we won 4-3 on aggregate.
I had a nightmare the other night.
Away goals, hang on. No, it still don't work, does it? Away goals.
And just before we move on to the next caller, Adam Nixon saying Catroni and Silva did well tonight, social distancing and staying 2 meters apart from each other player. Oh, I think that they were saying that on the commentary, that they seemed to be too far apart from each other. They didn't seem to work as a two, did they?
Nope, not at all. They've not got any chemistry, or
they've only known each other a week, didn't they? Really?
Yeah. So.
And what was your rating of the overall rating of the performance, Merv? Before we move on to an angry man coming next.
3.5, 3.5.
3.5. I gave it 4.5. Amy's giving it 5.5. I think everyone's around that mark tonight.
The 0.5 is the goal.
It's been not too bad coming on, has it?
That's helped, really. Yeah, not too bad.
Well, we'd like to see more of you, Merv. So hopefully you'll be on again.
I told you it wouldn't be too bad, did I?
No, you've been good. Thanks.
And if you want to get on the show, like Merv's braved it tonight with his Portugal Wanderers top on, all you have to do is send a message. Oh, yeah, Amy's got hers on. Send a message to the Always Wolves Facebook page, and the admins over on that page will send you the link and how to get on the show. After, obviously, we're here tonight, but we will be back after the Chelsea game on Wednesday night as well. So, Merv, thanks for joining us. Good to see your little face. Have you still got any answers left from Manny?
No, they didn't last long. I'm looking forward to the next lot.
Yeah, well, I'll probably end up delivering them to your house again. I think he's probably put me on your route. So anyway, Merv, thanks for joining us tonight. And now you've got the debut out the way. It's not going to be so hard in the future.
No, got my first goal in. That'll be fine now.
All right, mate. Lovely. Catch you later.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
So Merv, a lovely chap, and is as I say, he's got 2 young sons as well, and his name's Bennett. So my dad they met him, and he couldn't believe he got 3 Bennetts round him. Next up, we've got Jason, who's apparently not a happy bunny. So this might be fun. Hello, Jason.
Here he is.
Oh,
Listen, Dave, Amy, I am the biggest happy clapper going. You never see me slag off former players. You never see me slagging off current players ever, do you? On social media, have you ever seen me do it?
No, you're positive. Top guy, raise a lot of money for breast cancer awareness as well. Got a great podcast.
Thank you. Let me tell you something, right? Never, ever, nobody, never, ever take the piss out that 1986 team again, right? So we're all going on about, we lost 3-0 to Chorley. Let me tell you something, and this is facts now, and this is absolute facts. That 1986 team would have beat this team tonight. The Chorley one and the Wolves one, right? Look at what we've got up top tonight, right? Patrick Catroni, I can't have this. He loves the pizza. He loves the pasta. The lad, tragic, right? Listen, I've said this to you before. Catroni, he gesticulates when he misses. He's like this, and everyone buys into it. It's all a big act, right? Listen, he's not the answer. Fabio Silva, 35 million quid. I put on Twitter tonight, more facts. I put on Twitter tonight that if he's worth 35 million, the electrician that played up front for Chorley is worth 40 million. Tell me I'm wrong.
He might have his own company, which is worth millions.
Well, listen, the reality is tonight, that was both of you, that was really poor.
Chaotic
really poor.
Rager is said Catroni looked so uninterested, and I was saying I didn't think he felt like he didn't want to be there.
Look, like I said about Catroni, they've got this song about him, yeah, and it was like, and I said this to you last week about Vio Guinea, Vio, no end product, and Catroni's the same. We've got to stop believing in him. He's a Bud Vars and he's whatever. He's a Havard Flow. That's what he is. It's a fact. He's Frankowski. We can't butter it up because
Frankowski was a missing piece of the jigsaw.
Well, but we're all buttering it up because we got this great song about him. This is facts. He is never. And if they can't do it tonight against Chorley, they should be going out tonight thinking, you know what? I'm going to score a hat-trick tonight. I'm going to score 2 goals. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Look, nothing. They look disinterested. Come on, that is the reality of tonight. We should have seen that out of sight. 3-4-0.
Well, I've got to say, I said in my reaction straight after the game, like my instant feeling, I felt like the defence was probably the best part of our team tonight. The midfield couldn't string passes together, and the 2 up front, it felt like they were not there. It felt like at times we were playing with 9 players.
You did, and do you know what? You look at the Chorley attacks they had, and their strikers look more lively than ours. And, someone actually put about the surface, right, to the playing pitch. And there was, the pitch isn't great, you've got to give them this, you've got to give them that. You've got to give them nothing. If you pay £35 million for a player, he should be able to score a hat-trick on an ice rink. And that is the truth. Are you telling me that because there's a few bobbles on the pitch, that pitch wasn't even that bad? That pitch was not. It wasn't a Premier League pitch.
We've seen it's not a Premier League pitch, but I don't think we can't blame the pitch for the lack of anything up front.
How can we blame the pitch? Right? We just can't. There's no excuses for tonight's performance. I love Nuno. In Nuno we trust. Nuno's the man for the job. I agree wholeheartedly. Right? However, you've got to look at the team that he puts out. That team is good enough on paper to finish top 6, 7, 8 in the Premier League. And they're struggling against a butcher, a baker, and a candlestick maker. It's facts. I'm not even, it's facts. Dave, Amy, am I wrong?
Mate, absolutely brilliant. It's got to be one of the best quotes on a video. We struggle against a butcher, a baker, and a candlestick maker. That's fantastic. That sums it up tonight, to be honest. We've only had one shot all night on target. We've had like 78% possession, but I just thought we were guilty of that. I thought we looked scared to make a mistake and scared to lose the game, and they were keep playing it so safe. We had no real penetration, and we seemed to make it really easy for Chorley to defend. And at the start of the second half, at points, she just turned around and said, Chorley looked like the Premier League team.
I said that to my dad. I said, Chorley did in the second half. If Wolves had played like the first half, Wolves were better, but the second half, they was awful. They'd have played like that the whole game. They'd have lost 100%. They'd have lost. So
to be fair to Vitinha, obviously it's his first goal for the club. He strikes on him 30, 35 yards, absolute screamer, brilliant. And that should have set the tone for the night. But all of a sudden we're 1-0 up, and it's like we're defending a lead against a guy. Do you know why they took the number 7 off, Amy? I'm going to ask you. Do you know why they took Chorley? Do you know why they took their number 7 off tonight?
No.
He had a night shift at 11 o'clock. And that is the reality. We're playing against part-time.
You are joking, yeah.
I am joking, yeah. But,
I thought you was just talk there. I didn't think you was joking. I thought, bloody hell.
But that's the thing. Am I joking? We don't know. That's the thing.
They could have. He could have had a shift.
That was the problem tonight. Come on, look. Fabio Silva, 35 million quid. It's all right saying he's 18 or he's got a good touch. Oh, Nuno must have seen something in him. Are we going to be saying this in 6 months' time, 12 months' time, 18 months' time? He's one for the future. And why should Cutrone be interested when he knows he's not wanted, not given a chance? So he's got an opportunity now to score goals and be in this team, but why should he be interested? Listen, if he puts that shirt on and he's got that wolf on his chest, he should be interested. So I don't even buy into that. Should be not going to be next week.
For me, Cutrone was the most disappointing tonight because he's come back, and from my perspective, he's been given a really good opportunity to come back to Wolves, and he showed nothing. Like, I didn't even know he was on the pitch tonight. Cutrone really didn't know he was on the pitch, and for me, that's what's frustrating with him is he's come back and he's whatever happened last year. He's come back, being given a chance to score some goals, and he's just lacklustre. Absolute lacklustre. So
if Silva or Cutrone scores a worldie tonight or a hat-trick, we're going to remember it. We're going to want him in the team. So now so Morgan Gibbs-White now has done himself in. I know he's got coronavirus and I hope he gets well and all that, right? But now Vitinha scored that goal. Morgan Gibbs-White will not get a look in. The fans won't give him a chance. And Fabio Silva and Cutrone could have put themselves in that position tonight. We could have been going, do you know what? Silva scored 2. Let's play. All right, it was against Chorley. So, but now we got Chelsea in the week. I feel like I'm on Arsenal fan TV now. That's what it's doing.
But you know what, Jace? Knowing Wolves, like we said, this is typical Wolves, isn't it? Against Chorley, they'll probably go and beat Chelsea.
Yeah.
Because that's Wolves, isn't it? That's the Wolves that we support and have all these ridiculous moments together. Because
tonight, though, I really, if 2 or 3-0, I just think, you know what? We've put a show on. We've scored a few goals. Bit of confidence. We can't take any confidence from that at all. What's Nuno saying to them in the changing room?
Well, it's like that. What that guy said. Are they knitting and just listening to the Smiths because they look depressed the second half, and like you say, at times we were literally lumping the ball away, and it was coming back and back and back, and we just didn't seem to be able to get the ball to stick in midfield. And every time we went up front, we lost possession, and we're on the back foot again. I think the defence on the whole did quite well. Bolly makes a difference being in there. I thought Kilman did all right as well.
Yeah.
But it's only really the back four. I don't think the wing backs did too well. We won the game. But Jason, if you were going to rate that in terms of performance out of 10 and you're going to give a man of the match, who are you going to give it to?
I'm going to be do you know what? I've thought about this and I'm going to give him 1 out of 10. Yeah.
1.
Yeah, I'm going to give him 1 out of 10, and I'm going to give my man of the match to the guy who's going to be delivering pizzas tonight, and that's their number 11.
Oh, he's got his night shift with Domino's, isn't it?
I ain't going to give a man of the match to a Wolves team tonight, a Wolves player tonight. I can't do it. And you know what, Dave and Amy, I am the most positive person, and I've happy clapped for a long time, and I love Nuno to bits, and that's never going to change. But tonight was a woeful performance. Tonight we are playing a team we should be streets ahead of, and I don't believe in this magic of the cup. Chorley, they're not going to be training tomorrow. They train twice a week. Our players are there every day. Our 18-year-olds are there every day and have been. For
what do you think? What do you think is fundamentally wrong with the team right now? Honestly,
I think there is a massive lack of confidence, because if you look at the ability of that team with the skill set we've got at our disposal, there is no way we should be playing like this. Yet there is a massive lack of confidence. He made a triple substitution tonight. So he brought Traore, Neves and Neto on to make a difference. This ain't Chelsea. This is Chorley.
I know. And I was saying at the time, he's bringing on 3 international players on in one go. And they did make a slight bit of difference, but not really a lot.
Yeah, they made a slight bit of difference because we didn't concede. Because I tell you what, if the way it was going to be 1-1. That was going to happen. You could see the pressure coming on.
It was squeaky bum.
It was. And Jason, if you were to sum everything up before we get on to we got Dave on next from Talking Wolves. Before we get on to the next, I know, yeah. Before we go, how are we going to sum that up? How would you like to sum it up? What would you like to see change for Chelsea, or if anything?
I just think they need to be playing with a bit more confidence. I think they've got to put these games behind them now, and they've got to just go into it like it's a whole brand new season. Because as long as they've got this negativity and this mentality, which now us as supporters and me, Happy Clapper, is getting, I know for a fact they're going to be feeling the same. So in Nuno we trust. He's going to do a great job. Blah de blah. Get the positivity and negativity back, because tonight was dog shit.
Yeah, I think that's it. And I've got one theory just before you go.
Yeah,
we started this bad run of form and luck when we beat Chelsea 2-1 with that fantastic Pedro Neto goal when I was bouncing off the sofa, and that was the start of it. So in my mind, I've got this idea that we're going to play Chelsea on Wednesday, and we're going to beat them, and that's going to be the top and tail of this. Chelsea started it, Chelsea will end it, and then we'll hopefully go on. That's me trying to be eternally positive and optimist as usual.
You've got to be there.
Well, Dave, I hope you're right. I do hope you're right. And if I sounded negative tonight, on a serious note, I do apologise, because that's not me.
No, I think that the thing is, the one thing that I try to say to everyone that comes on is like, you got to put your views over. That's what it's all about, and being strong. As long as they make logical sense and people don't come on and start swearing and all that sort of jazz. You've made your point. You're obviously it's a strong point. It's a fair point. And I think it's a lot of people you've had on here agreeing with the points that you've made. I think it's frustration, isn't it? Because we should, like you say, be putting these teams to bed, and we've struggled. We've won the game, but really, Chorley have won the hearts and minds.
I'll give you the reality, right? A very quick reality check for Wolves fans. Our academy teams, our under-18s and our under-19s are future Premier League players, we hope. If we'd have put our under-18s out tonight, they should have been beating Chorley 3 or 4-0. That is the absolute reality behind it. And it's no good saying, oh, yeah, but they're a tough team. They're this, they're that. They're used to this, they're used to that. No, none of it. And I'll tell you another thing that annoyed me, and I forgot about this. Bolly went in for a challenge with one of the Chorley lads, and he hit him hard, right? The Chorley lad went down, and he got up straight away. Then we've got Silva, gets a knock, rolling around. And you know what? I'm not buying into this neither. And I think that is a really, really poor sign. And that is not Wolves.
I think that pretty much sums it up, Jason. Let's hope we're having a happier night on Wednesday after the game.
Yeah, I'll call in then.
Thanks ever so much for doing. Are you on the night shift with the baby again tonight?
Yeah, I'm on the night shift. That's why I'm still up drinking alcohol to get me through it.
I
Is
love
that
it,
a
mate.
Bev?
Thanks ever
Thank
so
you.
much for coming on, Jay.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
So next up, from the Talking Wolves founder and host, my good friend Dave Azzopardi. Hello, Dave. Welcome on to the post match.
Cheers, Dave. How's it
Hi,
going, guys?
Dave.
You right?
Now, you're like me after a game, incredibly busy, uploading stuff and everything.
Yeah. I've just got everything done now, so I can chill out for a bit now. Anyway.
Chill out after that performance.
Yeah. I mean, there's two ways to look at it, and I've spoken to a lot of people about it this evening. You can go into it like sort of Jason and a couple of the other people that you spoke to, expecting Wolves to score 4 or 5 goals tonight, and it's not happened. Or you could go on the other side thinking, I just want to get a clean sheet and win and get through to the next round. It's not very often under Nuno. I mean, there's the odd instance, but it's not very often that we go and smash teams by 4 or 5 goals. There's been a handful of games, but Wolves are not an attacking team. We are a defensive unit, or we've tried to be. Maybe not this season with the goals we conceded. But we've tried to be a defensive unit, and we've seen that over the past number of years. Huddersfield, when they went down, we lost to them.
Only 2 games that Huddersfield
Sunderland the year before, we didn't beat them in the Championship either. So these teams that set up, and Chorley, to be fair, was so organised today, and even made it hard for Wolves. Look, second half was disappointing, I felt, because we barely went into their half. But look, I can see it from both sides. I was fairly disappointed. I did think we'd score a few goals, and we just didn't. Other than Vitinha's goal, I can't remember us threatening their goalkeeper at all, which does ring alarm bells, really. But we're through to the next round. But I can see, I've never seen Jason that angry before anyway.
Well, Jason, he's a positive chap. And he said to me before he come on, he says, like, you need to get me on whilst I'm still angry, type of thing.
I did get the passion, and I think kind of let Jason, but I, like you, Dave, I'm trying to be positive at the moment, and I think there's a lot of negativity in the world, so I'm trying to take the positives where I can with Wolves. And the fact that we've won the game, we've kept a clean sheet, and we're through to the 5th round of the Cup, which isn't what we did last year. So I completely understand the flip side almost as well.
There's a huge, probably I'd say last 3 weeks, maybe since Christmas, there's been a huge divide anyway with the whole job security thing. Should it be Nuno in? Should it be Nuno out? And especially last weekend against Albion, when you're going to lose, there's going to be a massive uproar about it. There's going to be a lot of toxic, and a big meltdown. And it was massive. There was a lot of negative activity over the weekend, which I didn't really want to be a part of, to be honest. And I've not really, I'm very much Nuno in because I just can't see anyone else being able to come in.
Same, Dave.
I can't see anyone coming in at present and improving the situation whatsoever. So we're through to the next round, but I can see it from both sides. There's people that will be disappointed, but like you guys, I'm always positive. I remember I thought Dean Saunders was going to keep us up that year. I thought Terry Connor was going to do it till the last game of the season, and I think we'll go and beat Chelsea this week as well. I've always been the same.
But it's just it's typical Wolves though, isn't it? And
100%.
Like this evening, I said to Dad, I said, why are we experiencing this? Why are we seeing this? And it's just Wolves. It just seems to be what Wolves do. You get Chorley, a non-league team. You're a Premier League team. Everyone's been on about 1986, but at the end of the day, Wolves were in a very, very, very different position in 1986 than what they're in now.
Yeah.
And saying, could it be a repeat of that? But it's a different situation. It's just Wolves just play like they did tonight. It is exactly the game I thought it was going to be tonight. I thought maybe after that 10 minutes, then we'd have a gold rush. But I honestly thought it'd be defensive, backs up against the wall, because that's the way Chorley were going to make Wolves play.
Yeah.
And because it's a different type of football. I
think the thing is, if Wolves were in sort of first gear for first minute to the last, and we're through to the next round, if Wolves went 4th or 5th gear, right, we may have scored 3 or 4 goals, but we may have come out with players that were a bit jaded or possibly even injured. And I think fans would have been more frustrated with that anyway. It's
There's a
not as
few
if we,
people that said before the game, actually, on Twitter and stuff like that, they didn't want to see the likes of Traore and Neto on the pitch for exactly that reason, them potentially picking up an injury.
but the thing is, if we did rotate, I think everyone wants to see us go on a cup run, so you have to play a strong team to have a safe bet of getting through. We could have played the under-23s tonight, but then that's such an easy excuse if we don't win. They're like, why have we played the under-23s?
And that's not fair on Chorley either, I don't think.
Yeah, it's showing them a lack of respect, really. So the fact that we've been able to sort of play our strong team, yes, it wasn't a great performance, but it looks like we've come out of it with all of our first team members still okay and fit and ready to play against Chelsea again, really. So we didn't really have to break a sweat. But as fans, it's disappointing to watch. But there's very few games where it's exciting, edge of the seat stuff at the moment. I think Nuno, from now, like I know there was whispers of relegation when sort of Jason was on. I don't think that's ever going to be the case, but I think Nuno has to use this sort of formation, 5 at the back, to shore it up and just make sure that's not even going to be in a conversation again.
They've got that what's that? The striker looks like he's coming as well.
We need that. I think.
So I think that'll be a confidence boost in itself, personally.
Kind of in the Giroud type of mould, isn't he? Apparently,
yeah.
See that second goal he scored on last night for
yeah, it was a good goal. That was. Yeah, some serious power on that. Yeah, but he's very similar to Giroud. I think he's quite similar to Jimenez in a like quite well built. I think that's what we need today. Catrone and Silva. You could argue their service was like they had none, but their hold-up play was non-existent. At the moment, they've just got no pace or anything about them. Look, I'm a big Fabio Silva fanboy. I want to see him do well, and I wanted to do the same with Patrick Catrone, but today it just didn't work. And the thing is, was for them, Chorley sat really deep, whilst our midfield was sat just in front of our defence. So there's such a huge gap between our attack and midfield. There was just zero link-up play whatsoever. So yeah, it was one of them evenings, but we're through to the next round anyway.
So who would be your man of the match tonight then, Dave? And what would you rate the performance?
It's hard to pick a man of the match, to be fair. I don't think anyone in a Wolves shirt stood out too much. I felt Ruddy, made some good saves, but it's crazy that we're even suggesting Ruddy to be man of the match. The
just feel a bit off-piece, really, that we're saying that would be the man of the match. But I mean, we've both said that that's who we'd give it to. So I
can't remember other than Vitinha, but even his sort of in open play, I didn't think he was fantastic today, other than his goal.
Strike, but he didn't.
Who was given man of the match on BT?
Chorley.
Chorley.
Yeah. I thought he was okay. He won a few duels, but I felt they give him a good game as well. The big lad they had up front, caused us a few problems. So yeah, in terms of individual performance, it wasn't great. I'd probably give it a 3 or 4 as well.
I think everyone it wasn't a great performance, but it did kind of seem. Well, you put it in the way that we were coasting, and I think that's probably one good way. I thought we were being incredibly careful. We wasn't taking any major risks, which probably is what you're saying. We didn't like to want to get picked for an injury. We didn't want to. We seemed a little bit scared to make a mistake. Would you? Like as if they made a mistake in the goal, but because sometimes you get scared to make a mistake and you get all tense, you're more likely to make a mistake. And the longer the game
reserved play tonight, it was very, say cautious. And I think you've kind of hit it, Dave, saying that they did seem scared to go in for things that they may, in other circumstances, or other games, go in for a bit more. So I get that. I do get that. And I do think there's probably something in that as well. And I think coming off the back of what happened last weekend as well, there was a lot of knowing that they really needed to win and probably thinking because they knew that was the only outcome that could possibly happen. Otherwise, there'd be blooming riots down Waterloo Road right now. Then they were acting a bit more on the air of caution because they knew that had to happen as well. Yeah,
I think the best time to judge it though, especially with the new system, but going back to the back 5, the best time to judge it will be after the Chelsea game. I don't think you can judge it at all on this one. The actual, for Chorley, they would be up for it, but for someone like João Moutinho, who's a European Championship winner, I know you should anyway have the motivation as a footballer, but to wake up and have the motivation to know you're playing a team sort of 6 tiers below you're playing at that sort of pitch as well. And I know for us, you know, it's just a pitch, but it would make. I don't think it was a huge difference on the result today.
It had a difference, I think.
Yeah.
The bobbling on it, and you know,
especially towards the end as well.
Smalls, there isn't as many open spaces. Like if you're at Molyneux playing on that, it's a bigger pitch. They exploit the paces. You know, like I think Chorley had a game plan, and they executed it really, really well.
Yeah, and you know, fair play to Chorley, because for them to lose 1-0 to Wolves, it is after their cup run is a very, very good night at the office for them. So you know, and you've got they came, they well organised, they kept the shape where they could, so they did everything that they needed to, and it's just a shame that Wolves didn't have a bit more spark. Really, I think that's everyone's frustration, but we won.
Do you think Dave that he's going to revert to that back three again going forward now, at least in the short term?
I think he'll go with the back three and the wingers, so like a 5-2-3 almost. I think on Wednesday. I don't think that signing will be done in time for that game. He might be on the bench, I don't know, but I think Fabio Silva will probably start up front in that game. But I think you've got to play like Neto and Adama. I mean, we only saw little bits of them today, but both times when they got the ball, they drove us up the pitch 20, 30 yards every time. So, you know, that made a big difference. Whereas we just didn't have that. Maybe if he started with that formation with the wide players or gave one of the younger lads like Corbianu a chance, you know, I think we could have scored a couple more goals. But the strikers didn't have anything to do. I think me and you could have played up front today, Dave. You know, we would have done as good.
We do have form of playing in a team.
I mean, Dave's a good footballer. You know, he's a good footballer. I'm not
joking. Me playing up front now, be a turn up for the Bucks.
I remember Dave told me he was a good footballer. I don't think anyone believed him, and then he flicked up an effort and tried and volleyed it at goal at Molyneux before. I remember that one.
The keeper saved it.
Yeah, it's good effort.
That was my big moment, nearly scoring in front of the South Bank. But we played in the same team and we won 6-0. Amy, me and Dave were sat. We were
on the bench, were we? Yeah, started on the bench. Super subs came on, made the difference.
And well, it was 0. Was it 0-0 when we came on?
I think so. Or there was only one goal, I think.
We won 6-0.
Yeah.
Good times that was.
Yeah.
And that was actually playing in a. There's probably more people watching that game than
there was today.
Yeah.
How times have changed.
I know.
Oh, good times, mate. Well, Dave, thanks for coming on tonight.
No, my pleasure.
It's a late one and everything, so I appreciate that. And let's hope we do have an upturn. I think when the upturn in form and we get the players back, I think we're missing Pedence a lot as well.
Pedence will be a new signing when he gets back, I reckon.
How far away do you think?
He's back in light training, I think. So hopefully he might be back in the next couple of weeks. But I don't even know quite what's wrong with him. I think he's had a couple of muscular.
I think it was a muscular injury, wasn't it? I can't remember after which game it was, but I think it was muscular, which is always a bit harder to heal.
Yeah, I think that's been our issue all this season. We've never really had it this bad with injuries, have we? And the amount of players that we've had out, you know, and such small margins in a lot of the games, especially around Christmas. You know, conceding late goals, the game against Villa, games against Brighton, Manchester United. You know, a bit of luck in our favour, and we wouldn't even be having this conversation about.
It is true. It is true.
You mentioned that it's like these fine margins in about 3 or 4 games, but that's football, isn't it? For you?
Yeah, we could be talking in a few games times where, like you say, Dave, that they go in our favour and everything's a bit more rosy again. So
exactly.
You know, hopefully things will turn. Things have got to turn. So.
Nuno wants to win the cup. I really do think he wants to win the FA Cup, and I think we need 4 more wins in the Premier League out of 19, which you know it sounds daft, but that's
it's achievable, yeah.
That's all we need, and we'll hopefully we've got Palace coming up soon, and we normally always beat Palace. Don't we?
We usually do quite well against Palace, and they've beaten them twice already this season, so hopefully they can make it 3.
All right, mate. Well, thanks for joining us, mate. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Keep up the good work.
Yeah, you too, mate. Yeah, have a good weekend, guys. See you later.
Yeah, see you later, Dave. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
So there's Dave giving his thoughts. Good to have him on the channel. And obviously, we're really thankful for everyone that's joined again tonight. And we've had some good guests there, some really good contributions, entertaining to watch as well. Jason, I love the fact that he said it how he felt, which was great, very constructive. Lots of positives. Dave, obviously, they're giving quite a reasoned view, a bit like me in terms of, and you, frustrated, but still keeping the faith. How would you like to sum it up to finish the show off tonight, Amy? Has she gone quiet?
Am I back? I'm back. Don't know what happened then.
All right, because you've on my screen, you look like you're frozen.
It went like the circle of death on my screen, so I think I'm.
Just jump out and jump back? Oh no, you're back. You're moving again now.
Okay, I'm back. What was I saying? How would I submit? I think ultimately the main positive of that game is they won and they kept a clean sheet. So we need to just take that into the Chelsea game. They're back in playing in the Premier League. They're not playing, Chorley. No disrespect to Chorley, because I thought they came out and they was great tonight. But they just need to take the positives and just take that into the Chelsea game and be really positive, back to basics, and just hopefully we can turn this win around. But I think, frustrating tonight, because I think we all wanted and expected a bit of a gold rush, but Wolves don't score that many goals. So what did we expect, really?
And I think this new striker coming in, because obviously at one point it looked as if Wolves wasn't going to be going into the transfer market and we were just going to be stuck. And I think they've looked at it and they've realised that we absolutely have to get this guy. It looks like he's coming in. He's Brazilian, 29. He's of a good age, sort of similar age to Raul, similar built, 6'2", Amy. Scored 40 goals in the last 3 seasons, scored 2 goals in week 1, an absolutely superb shot from outside the box. The other one, a sliding into the 6-yard box to turn it home. A man of the match performance in their cup competition. And I think it's going to be with an option to buy for 17 million. How do you feel about that? Do you think they're making the right decision in bringing him in?
100% right decision. I think after we said this last week, for me, I was not about rash purchases in the January transfer window, but after last weekend, considering the amount of attempts that they had and the lack of goals against the Albion and just the overall performance, I think the strike will just be, I can see chaotic rager, is that how you say it? I just said that it will be a lift, and I think it'll be a lift for the fans to show that the board are behind Nuno, are behind the club, and I do think it'll be what we need going forward. So I'm not sure whether they have to, because he's coming from Spain, I think he might have to quarantine for a bit. So I'm not sure when we'll actually see him or when he's arrived. But I don't
know. I'm not sure how that works because it's football and it's this bubble thing. And I think the main thing is getting, because obviously getting the paperwork through and the medical. From what the reports that have come out, that it might even go through this weekend. They're hoping. From what we've been reading reading up on, that they're wanting to be available for Chelsea / Palace. I think, like Dave said when he came on, he might be in place before Chelsea, because a couple of people have been asking on there, but I'm not sure. I don't think he'd start. I think he might be on the bench and come on, and then he might hopefully be starting for the Palace game.
I mean, that would be good. I just heard that they had to quarantine, so I'm not sure with the state of the Wolves, but hopefully he can come in.
Maybe someone can tell us, do they have to quarantine when they come in? I don't know.
It's just the international travel corridors have changed, haven't they? So it's an interesting one, because this is obviously a very different circumstance and the transfer market's never had this before. So if anyone has any information on that, then let us know. But it'd be good to have someone in. Palace is next weekend, isn't it?
It's next. It's got it here. Don't think they have to qualify. So Dave's just mentioning that. So it doesn't look like they have to qualify. I don't know. That they get a special allowance. So that sort of answers that. I thought that was the case, to be honest. And good to have Bolly back, though, and happy to have a back 3.
Very, very. It was nice to see Bolly, and I think Cody looked a lot more Cody-like tonight, which was good, especially after the Albion game, because he had a bit of a shocker against the Albion, didn't he, Cody? So, and I thought Kilman, I'm a big fan of Kilman. I think whenever he plays, he always puts in a really good performance, really solid. And I think he was quite respectful of the Chorley players as well. I felt that came across with Kilman tonight, because, you know, he's been at kind of that level of most recently out of them all as well. So that was nice. I liked seeing those three at the back three. So for me, that was a positive. I just think for me, it was frustrating with Catroni and Silva up front, because, you know, I couldn't have told you that Catroni was on the pitch really, but the wingers and the service that they had in, there was nothing. And Ait Nouri for me just lost the ball far too much. But yeah, that's stuff that they need to work on. But the outcome of the game is a positive one, so we have to take that forward, don't we?
Yeah, we do. And just quickly, just looking ahead now to the Chelsea game, and we will be back after the Chelsea match. I'm not sure what time the kickoff is. Is it
6:15 kickoff?
Oh, 6:15. So we'll give us a bit more time to settle down. So we'll probably have a couple of hours gap, so we can all just have something to eat before we come back for the post-match show. That's quite nice. It's a little bit early. It means we ain't got to rush to get on so quickly. Amy, how are you feeling about that one? There's a few people asking for a score prediction. Do you want to give one?
No.
That's Amy all over. She never likes giving a score prediction.
I just hope that we go in. All my hope for Chelsea is we go in, we get over this negativity and this lack of confidence, and just want them to go in and just play the Wolves like we know and love them playing, and just show the desire and everything again. And I think if we can see that, you know, if we can get a draw, I think a draw against Chelsea away will be good. And they're not in the best form either, so it'll be an interesting one. I think Frank's under quite a lot of pressure at Chelsea at the moment, so it'll be a really interesting one to see how it pans out. But if we can go in and just play how they play, you know, three at the back, that consistent defence line that we all know and love, then fingers crossed it will be a bit more positive.
I think the same. I think it's going to be the three at the back. I think a bigger pitch. They'll go into the Chelsea game obviously as underdogs, whereas they were obviously massive favourites tonight. Hopefully they'll be able to have that more space, play with a bit more positivity, get on the front foot. The thing that's concerned me is the first 10 minutes of every half, we do seem to be asleep. Yeah. So we need to be at it from the off. The good news is we've got tomorrow, they'll probably have a day off or a bit of wind down. And then we've got Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So we have got a little bit of a gap to recover from this, and then hopefully go again at Chelsea. And let's we play well, we get a result, a draw, or maybe another last minute Neto winner.
That would be nice. But I think, you know, we've got to take it tonight that everyone seems to be still intact, which was it could have gone, you know, it could have gone the other way, couldn't it, without some of the players not being intact after tonight. So everyone's looks like they're fit and healthy, which is good to go in, and hopefully it can be just the turn, like you say, Dave, from the last win. Hopefully we can get the next win against Chelsea. It'd be fantastic. Yeah,
it's been a bit like that. Where's the next win coming from in the Premier League? But hopefully we'll have a good performance on Wednesday night against Chelsea. Thanks to everyone for joining us on Extra Time. A late one tonight, but we've got through. It's Wolves who have got through to the 5th round, where we'll be playing
Arsenal with Southampton, which is tomorrow. First game tomorrow, 12:15 kickoff, I believe.
So yes, it could be Southampton. Whoever we play, whether it's Southampton or Arsenal, it's going to be a tough game. Arsenal, obviously, the holders.
Who would you prefer, Dave?
You know what? I don't know. I don't mind. I think Southampton are having a great season. I think they'll be well up for it against Arsenal. But I think we can beat either of those sides on a one-off game at Molineux. And we're into the last 16. And if we did become victorious over that, we're into the quarters, and you never know where you can go. You know, we've ground out a result against Chorley tonight. We got through. That's the main thing. We've got a home tie in the next round, which will be a much more open game, which will probably suit us because both Arsenal and Southampton do play offensive football, and we can beat either of them on our day. So and then you're into the quarterfinals, and it's just who you draw after that, isn't it? But I don't know, who would you prefer?
Southampton, I would prefer because 2 reasons. Arsenal are always very good in the FA Cup, so I'd like to not play them. And they obviously lost against Arsenal in the semi-final at Villa Ground when I was little.
God,
I didn't go; I was too little. I remember
there.
my sister and dad going.
I was on holiday. I came back off holiday for the day for the match, and then went back on holiday again.
And then I remember us playing in Southampton in was it 2002 when we beat Newcastle and went on that cup run in the 5th round. Quarterfinal. It was a quarterfinal, and they lost against Southampton. So it'd be quite nice to beat them in the cup. Yeah, so I'd quite like Southampton. But again, you know, I think Wolves are capable on the day of beating either team, and they're both having quite good seasons now. So hopefully we can go on a bit of a turn now and have a good run and play against one of them and win.
There's an interesting thing to finish. The last time we played Chorley, we had a brand new striker that was just signed, and then Wolves' fortunes took an upturn. And this time we haven't quite got the striker signed, but we have this new striker. So, you know, maybe a bit of history repeating.
Well, my dad did say he did want to play Chorley again so that we could rewrite, you know, the wrongdoings of '86. And we've done that tonight. Performance wasn't great, but we've won. So let's hope it is the turnaround that we all want. Fantastic.
We'll end on that positive note. Thanks again for co-hosting the show again tonight, Amy. And,
no worries. Thank you.
Absolutely brilliant again. And also thanks to all you guys that have joined on the chat and to watch, and also to our guests tonight that have come on and we've had some fantastic guests tonight. It's been really entertaining. Much appreciated. If you do want to get onto the show for the Chelsea game, all you have to do is move over to the Always Wolves Facebook page, like the page, send us a message off that, and we'll get you on the show on Wednesday night with me and Amy, hopefully with a smile on our face and a happy performance and at least 1 point in the bag.
Well, we've got the win tonight. We just need the performance to match now. If we can get 2 out of 2 next game, then great.
Another clean sheet and a goal.
Yeah.
1-0 to the Wanderers. That'll do nicely.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Everyone's saying thank you and everything. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all on the next one. So from myself, Dave, and from Amy.
Bye. Bye. Thanks for joining.
Until the next one, Always Wolves.